There's far too much thinking which says sustainable building, knock down old buildings, build a new one with lots of insulation, doesn't matter if it's nasty formaldehydes and things, and that's the way forward. Put some windmills on it, that's what green is. If we rely on that to fight climate change, it's going to take 1,300 years to replace our building stock. We'll get rid of all these lovely old buildings and end up with ones that fall apart. Actually, this is the important thing, the retrofitting of buildings, the care and renewal of existing buildings, and the appreciation of the walkability and the livability of their context. We're here in the middle of Edinburgh. We've got the dome of Old College up there, Dovecot Tapestry Studios behind, and then this is the Old Royal High School, and this is the one previous to the one up in Calton Hill, so this is 1777. At the height of the Enlightenment, Walter Scott was a pupil here, embedded in the heart of the old town, and education, part of the Blackfriars Monastery that had been here before, so there's a tradition of that. Because it was where, well, it's actually where Birkin here brought the cadavers behind, there's a tradition of education and research and university. This has all happened around here.
The end product of this fine building, this fine bill, will be the Edinburgh Centre for Carbon Innovation, and that is explicitly about working with business, working with communities, working with governments to try and make this transition to a society which is thriving, it's robust, it's resilient, and it also doesn't rely on fossil fuels to the same extent that we have today. We've got an architect that has been very much bought into this vision and has designed an absolutely fantastic modern space in an old iconic building to allow us to deliver what we're trying to achieve.
We're using absolutely cutting edge thinking about sustainable building. The interesting thing is that doesn't mean a lot of gizmos. It actually means reusing the building is good. It's location, the fact that you can walk to it. But then when we build stuff, we think about how light comes in. We use massive timber construction. There's no nasty chemicals on it. It locks up carbon. We make the building airtight. We insulate it well. All the simple stuff. We harvest rainwater. Expensive, but helpful too. We just do tons of good, straightforward things. We make sure there's no nasty polythene in the building, there's no harmful materials. We care about the biodiversity around it. We're bringing back a nice garden outside where Surgeon Square used to be, historic square. We're standing between an 18th century and a 19th century old building. In the space between, we're opening up an atrium. It'll be flooded with light. The building's opened up to connect through to seminar spaces, teaching spaces, breakout spaces. There'll be stairs going up here with meeting spaces in it, all those things. It will have everything that a modern building would have. It'll have all the conveniences and all the light and all the openness and all the flexibility for modern building, but with the advantages of the solidity of the old stone building too, and the cultural heritage and the embodied energy and the location within the heart of the old town as well.
It's great to meet very forward-thinking architects. As contractors, we can only perhaps deliver what's on paper, and sometimes you can be very restricted as to innovations that you want to introduce to a building. So to work with very forward-thinking client as well as the architect can make a truly sustainable project overall, because these sustainable elements, they really need to be considered at the early design stage. There's no point in it coming to the contractor and then reassessing and re-evaluating the plans.
We need to work more carefully with our existing buildings, our existing cities and towns, and make good places out of it.
We are so excited to be involved in this it's such an exciting hub right in the centre of Edinburgh, where obviously all the decisions are made just on the road in government to bring about a low carbon future for Scotland.
It's just great to see how an old building like this, with its strength and integrity, can take all these changes, can adapt too many modern buildings, they're unusable after the first use goes. This building has been so strong and flexible, it's been able to do all these different things over the years. I know this will be complete for basically in next academic year.